It's about who's your real customer, right? That's what it's about. Who's your real customer? So, I'd like to introduce, are you guys both doing this together or is it just you, Dennis?
Yeah, we'll both do it.
Together.
Okay, great. So, hold on, I'm letting Juliana in. So, yeah, so Kimberly Kean and Dennis Hammond both used to run and manage and own Gene Johnson Plumbing for a lot of years, and they're here to share their secrets with us about who our real customer is. And from our questionnaire the other night at the annual business meeting, not everybody's answering that question what you guys are going to answer it as. So I will turn it over to you, and we'll have Chance from Quick Drive present to us at the end of the meeting.
Awesome. Sounds good.
Right on. I'm excited.
All right. I'm glad you guys are here. This is one of my favorite topics. I'm going to share my screen. Pull this over here. All right. Everybody can see that, I'm sure.
Yep.
Cool. So yeah, who is your customer? And so I'll be kind of leading it, and then Kimberly is going to jump in as she sees fit, or when I get stumped or whatever. So we'll do this together. This is one of my favorite topics in the world. So I'm just hitting present. All right. So there's so much here, so we just have to jump in. We market for customers, both the retail customer and the company customer, right? And so we aimed, this is around, like, to get started, a 10% marketing budget. And this wasn't until maybe like the last 5 years we figured out, this is the secret. We figured out that we should be marketing for our technicians as well. Like, that budget came from marketing because they're both customers, actually. So we started taking 10% of our marketing budget and focusing it directly towards recruiting, because it's all tied up in there. So that was kind of a new concept to us. But who is your primary customer? So here's the trick. When there are not enough techs in the market, they become their primary customer. How can you tell? If they don't like your offering, they can find one they do like. There is nothing forcing them to stay loyal. They can go anywhere. Sounds like a customer, right? Like, they can go anywhere. In the current climate, a plumber can leave our company this morning and probably have a signing bonus this afternoon if they know what they're doing. And so what that means is they're our primary customer. Now, there could be a day coming someday, I don't see it, where there are too many plumbers and not enough customers. Well, then our customer is the customer. Like, everybody's looking for calls, but in the current state, the primary customer is the plumber, is the tech. So the secondary customer is the customer, the retail customer. So we did a poll at our company, and what our existing customers liked about us. We did a poll and we reviewed all the reviews we had to find out why they like us, what were the adjectives in their reviews. And we narrowed that down to clean, on time, and professional was what our customers liked about our company. Now, every company, I imagine, has a little bit different flavor, right? Clean, on time, and professional may not match every company, but for us, that's what our customers liked. And so what that did was that informed us on what we needed plumbers to provide, that, because that's what our book of customers liked. So we looked for clean, on-time, professional plumbers. So we need techs that can deliver on that promise. And so we did a little work on what does clean actually look like. What does clean mean? And what does on time mean? One thing we learned, it does not mean that if you say you're going to be there at 8 o'clock, that you're there at 8 o'clock. It can mean that, but it can also mean that you call at 7:30 and say, I just want to give you a heads up. We're not going to be there till 8:30. And I want to give you, just to let you know, so you can reschedule if we need to, or You can go run an errand, take the kids to school and come back, but we're not going to be there until 8:30 to 9. And they love that communication. And we would get reviews that we were on time, even though we were an hour late because we communicated. And then what is professional? Professional is a big concept. I found a book. There's a book here called Professionalism is for Everybody. And it teaches little tips on how to be a professional. And professional is kind of a really broad thing. It's kind of hard to define, similar to ripoff. What is a ripoff to one person is a good deal to the next. And so professionalism is kind of a vague thing. But anyway, that's what we focused on for our customers. And so we had to match customer one with customer two. So not all customers care about on time, right? Or cleanliness. Like if they can get it cheaper and they clean up afterwards, that's great. But not our customer. So anyway, this is the infinity. This is the game to attract more techs that can deliver on more customer promises. So in this market, whoever has the techs has the market. If there's too many calls, if there's 1,000 calls in Seattle and we can't quite get to them all, then in theory, whoever has the plumber has the tech, right? So that means if plumber leaves one company and comes to a second company, those 1,000 calls where someone calls and says, I need service today, they will find their way to whoever has the techs. So we actually found this to be very true. And there was a time where I did not hire a tech because I didn't know if I had work for him or not. And I learned that if I found a good guy, I always hired him because our system we got to a place where we always could fill him up. So we could add as many techs as we could find because whoever has the techs has the market. So that is our current market, and it will probably be for quite some time. So a tech first culture is really what we're talking about. When you understand that the tech is the customer, you arrange your culture to attract techs just like you advertise for customers. So what a tech's like, right? That's the question. So first of all, we talked about what a tech's not like. And so these are just some top. Am I missing anything, Kimberly? I'm just jump in here if I'm missing something.
Nope, you're doing great.
Yeah, I spelled peeves right.
Good job.
She did some help. We did this last night. She covered for me.
Yep, I see you already. Yep, good job.
So they don't like long drive times. They hate that. Just think about that. If you had a bad call, then you got to sit in traffic for an hour and a half. All you can do is think about the bad call. So what if the call was what if you could flush that and go on another fresh call within 20 minutes? So back in the day, we never marketed outside of a 5-mile radius till just the very last couple of years. Our whole focus was 5 miles around our shop because one of the number one tech peeves is drive time. Office support that makes them look good or makes them look bad. So that happens a lot where the plumbers get upset with the office because the office said this and overpromised and didn't communicate. It makes them look bad. They really hate that. Not paid well for feelings or feeling screwed by the company. So pay is always a tough thing, or feeling like the company is getting all the money. Some of that has to do with just not understanding the business, right? Being forced to take a call when they were expecting to be done. How often does that happen where they probably talked to their wife at 3 o'clock and said, I'll be home at 5. And then we call and say, we got one more call. Man, that sucks. They hate that. Going on calls they don't feel trained on or looking stupid. How many times do we feel like we got to go to the call? So we force a guy to go on a call. I remember sending guys on calls for tankless water heaters, and they're like, I don't know how to do tankless. And we're like, well, we got to go anyway. And they hated it. They knew they were incompetent, and they felt stupid, and they felt like they looked stupid, and they hate it. So trucks and tools breaking down, they're on their way, but then their truck breaks down, or the sewer snakes cables kinked. That stuff sucks so bad. And especially when they're commissioned. Now they're looking at me going, how am I supposed to make money when your truck doesn't even work, right? Or well, it's not my fault the truck broke down. Or not knowing what the goal is, just feeling like a number, like they just work, 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 and have no idea where they fit in or how they're connected. So just like we found our other guys, like our customer, like Clean On Time Professional, we went to work to fix those things and make sure that we were clean and on time and professional on every call. So now we do the same thing. We go to work on our business to make a business that plumbers are attracted to.
Dennis, can I ask a question?
Yeah, absolutely.
Back on that previous slide, some of those things that the technicians hate, like being forced to take a call when they're expecting to be done, right? Sometimes it's a very fine line between keeping your technician happy, but also making sure you're putting your business first, right? So what's your suggestions on navigating that?
We're gonna get to that. I'll answer that question.
Cool.
Okay. And if I don't, please bring it up because it's a huge deal. Yeah. So now we're gonna work on creating low drive times so they can be efficient. So that's how we're gonna market. We're gonna market a very tight. We're not gonna have billboards all over the Puget Sound because I don't want my guys stuck in traffic all over the Puget Sound. Professional office staff that makes them look good. So now we're dialing in our office, and the focus is to make the plumber look good. Top pay and benefits they appreciate. We discovered we were given some benefits the plumbers really didn't care about. Like we offered stuff, they didn't even take advantage of it. How often do we have 401ks and only 5 people in the whole company are using it? It's like, what gives, man? I got a 401k and you're not using it. Okay, so offered calls rather than clearing the board on the tax. So this is kind of what Mason's talking about. We offered calls rather than saying, look, I got 5 more calls and you guys are going to take them before. This is a horrible, this is what happens, Mason. And this is a huge topic, but this oftentimes what happens is the dispatcher gets the last 5 calls out on the guys and then she takes off. The dispatcher takes off and then the plumbers are calling the dispatcher and they've already checked out and gone home and your workforce is out, pissed off, stuck in traffic, going to a call they don't want to go to. So tech training so they feel confident with the call. So one of the reasons we started focusing on tankless water heaters was because that was what the guys were most insecure about. Like they might know Navien, but they don't know Rinnai, or they might know Rinnai, but they don't know Navien. And so we started really dialing up the training because our guys, we were starting to get these calls and the guys weren't comfortable. And so we saw that. And so I want my guys to feel confident because if they're confident, they'll sell more. This is all actually very selfish. This is all what we did to make a very profitable, successful company. New and maintained trucks and tools to alleviate downtime. One of the models we heard was, we don't want to be a trucking company. Like trucks are not the focus of our business. Plumbing is. But if our trucks are all run down, they are, right? How often I remember the day where there was a truck always down. Every week there's always all this commotion and run around. It's like, I feel like I'm taking care of trucks more than I'm taking care of plumbing. So that was a focus. And then they were included in the goals and company directions so they know how their work affects the business. So, and we did the one-man truck exercise for not only every plumber, but every apprentice and every office staff. So everybody knew why we're quoting these big prices and why we need to meet the goal and what their part of it was. And they started to become included and a part of the solution. So if you guys remember, you probably didn't even notice, it's marketing, but our marketing was actually recruiting. The phone's already ringing, but what we did is we told the story of our techs. We didn't say how good Gene Johnson was. We actually just told the story about Miguel and how clean he was with his truck and how his truck was so organized and how proud he was of his beautiful truck. Because Miguel kept a spotless truck. And so Chad told that story about Miguel. And he'd go on the job site and show him putting his tools away. So we made them the stars of our marketing and made them look and feel good and proud of where they worked. So those videos, they would often be apprehensive, like, I got to have the video guy come with me today. But by the time they got the results, they were showing their mom and dad and their brother and sister and like, check this out. And we made our technicians the star of the show. So each tech has their thing that resonates with a different type of customer. So Miguel being fastidious and detailed and clean with his truck, some customers would see that and go, that's the kind of guy I want in my house doing my kind of work. Right. And so every guy had his own personality, but it always kind of fit into that clean, on time professional. We knew that was what our customer liked. And so we just kind of tie the plumber to how are they clean, on time, and professional. But all our marketing was focusing on the technician. When we feature a different technician and tell his story, but it was really to make him the star of the show. Bonuses. I actually called all my guys. All my guys the last week knew exactly where they were and how many thousands of dollars they were away from bonus, or what level of bonus they were away from. And some guys would get confused, like, why are you, I've never had someone tell me I'm $1,200 away from a $2,500 bonus. So if I sell $1,200, I'm getting a $2,500 bonus. Why are you telling me that? Well, because we are a plumber first business. We realize our primary customer is our plumber. I want my plumbers to all make as good as money as they can, have the greatest experience possible. First of all, so they stay, and second, so they tell their friends, right? So that's just another way that we always focused on. We tried desperately. Everybody, no one missed a bonus by accident. Everybody knew where they were, and I was all about, and it was kind of freaky, to be honest, when this is all a result of being profitable, guys. So it's kind of scary to push people to get a bonus when you're not profitable, right? So it's kind of a balance. All this takes time. But then the training, we trained so the techs don't want to feel stupid or confused. So we train them to be technically competent. If a tech doesn't know what he's doing, it's not really good customer service to send him out there anyway. Like, he's going to be on his heels the whole call. He's going to feel unconfident. The company's going to wonder why we sent him. Like, it satisfies our office. They got to send the call out and they got to go home. But now our plumber and customer are having this really awkward experience. It's like forcing somebody to go on a date they don't want to go on. It's like, how romantic is that? Like, it doesn't go. So we trained them on professional processes as well to run the call. So we had a professional process that we trained. Everybody knew it from the very beginning, so that when we go on a call, this is what we do. So our training, so we built our first training lab, and this is one of my favorite stories. This is about Marcus. Marcus was a licensed journeyman plumber that got fed up with the company he was at. And he finally said one day, I can't take it anymore, and I quit. It was in the middle of the week. And he interviewed 7 places the day I met him. I was the last interview. And when I interviewed him, like, I couldn't tell if I was winning or losing, right? Like, okay, well, he can work this. You guys know this when you're interviewing a guy, it's like, man, this guy can work anywhere. How do I get him to choose my company? So at the very end, I says, let me show you my training lab. And this was our little training lab at the Greenwood office, not the big one. But it was a little, but it was something, and it was organized and it was clean. And he says, training lab. And so I walk back and I show him my training lab. I said, we have training. We do code training Wednesday mornings from 6:30 to 7:30. And then we do hands-on training Thursdays from 5 to 7, except during the summer. And you know what he said? He says, this is where I want to work. And he came on. And the only difference was we had this training lab. And why? Because we had 3 tankuses on the wall. We had a couple furnaces. But this is what we did. We trained so that they felt competent, so they could learn things. I discovered that he spent like a year and a half setting tubs for the union. He's like, yeah, I'm a journeyman plumber, but a year and a half of that is setting the same tub over and over and over. So he was very attracted to a training lab that had all the pieces in place so he could learn his skills and not feel stupid going out there. So, and guess what, like a journeyman plumber, right? You want to send him on every call, but he set tubs for a year and a half. Like he's not as well-rounded as you might think because he's got a journeyman license. So, the organizational chart, this was a huge one. We didn't get this till actually when we bought the Zoom Drain franchises, when we really learned how powerful this was. But I began not to ever go on an interview without showing my organizational chart. So this is where you are. This is where you start here. This is where you start, and this is how you grow in our company. You happen to be a licensed plumber, so this is where you would fit in our company. And here's where you can move. And what was cool is, and it wasn't always this way, but towards the end, I could say, this guy, this service manager, he started down here as an apprentice. And so what that does is it demonstrates this is a company where I can grow in, right? And this is where I fit and where I'm going to. This has nothing to do with the customer, right? This is all how to make the plumber feel like this is where he wants to work. This is all plumber focused. This is how we build plumbers. This is how we support plumbers. And as you get more experience or start to feel older and don't want to be doing the hard work anymore, there's a position here for you. So all about attracting plumbers to work at the company.
I'll just add to that. One thing is on the org chart, in addition to where people had been, we had our 5-year plan laid out on the org chart. So all the positions that we anticipated in the next 5 years were also there, so that you could see the opportunity for growth. Just, yeah.
Yes. Yeah, at the start, it was like, this is our hope and our dream. Towards the end, it was, look how much, it was really, really cool. But it doesn't mean you have to be a big company to have an organizational chart. You just have to say, here's the plan, and we'd love you to help us make this happen. And
Yeah.
most of our employees actually helped the dream come true. Like it was all written out before it happened.
We're going to need people to make this dream come true.
Yeah, here it is. So autonomy, great techs want a sense of autonomy. They want to be trusted, left alone to do their best work. So we hired that and trained to that level. So I learned this from my trade when I came from the embalmment, from the mortician thing. We were trusted. Like if we had our license, like we were trusted 100%. And so my first impression of the trades was they're not trusted. Most of these companies are started by good plumbers. And so good plumbers tend to not think anybody else is as good as them. And so there's this kind of untrust going on. It's like, wait a second. And don't we, if we want to build a company, don't we want to build out of micromanagement? So we hired, I think in my we hired and trained so that they had autonomy and they could just take a call and disappear and make money, and that problem just goes away, and just what happens is the customer gets satisfied and money comes in. So one call at a time. This is so Mason, this is tying into this whole thing here. We're serious about running one call at a time. The call our tech was on was the only call that mattered. We never called and disturbed them unless it was really, really important. Like, hey, how much more time do you got there? You gonna be done? I got calls to go on. No. What this does is it frees them up to do their best work. Then the work is problem free. There's less callbacks. The customer satisfaction goes up and there's more reviews. Because when they're rushed, they might have not cleaned up just as good as they could have, or they might have not re-welded that 90 wasn't quite straight, and they might not re-weld it because it's working, it's holding, and I gotta go. Right? But when they have nowhere else to go, they might just re-weld that and make sure that's perfectly tight, perfectly straight. So the customer satisfaction goes up, more reviews happen. and they're free to sell more. How many times when the dispatcher's pressuring the tech to move on to the next call that they don't sell more, but when there's nowhere to go except the call they're at, they're free. They're free to sell more and add on. And this is all about taking care of the plumber. The plumbers don't want to be rushed. They don't want to rush around. Plumbers actually want to do their best work. They actually have lots of pride. And so why not let them do their best? Why not create an environment that they get to go on that call and do their very, very best work? And then when they're done, they call in and say, I'm ready for another call. And I know this sounds crazy, but this is how we operated. At 2 o'clock, guys, our guys got a phone call. This is the only phone call they got. They got a call or text. And it said, I'm just setting up the rest of the afternoon. Do you want me to schedule another call for you? Or will you finish out the day at this call? That's what our text got at 2 o'clock. And some of them would say, I'm just wrapping up and I'll be glad for another call. Or, hey, I'm beat and I'm going to be here for 3 more hours. I'd like to finish out here. Right? And so we would honor that. And so how does this actually work? So Mason, here's the answer to that part. There's a lot to it, but here's the answer to that. If I've got 5 guys that say, I got to go, like this is my last call. If I've got 5 guys and so I call my calls and I say, I'm going to have to reschedule. That's what I do. I call and say, hey, it's not going well. I call them early. The reason it's at 2 o'clock is I'm going to call in at 2 o'clock and say, hey, I'm not going to make it today. I'm calling you as soon as I know to let you know if you want to call and get someone else, or if we can reschedule, that would be wonderful. But I'm empowering them as soon as possible to know I'm not going to make it. Now, let's say there's one call that I got to get to. We all have those calls. Well, I call back, I let those 5 guys know, hey, I cleared the board, but I've got one call we got to get to. This is what it is. We just got to go. Because we're offering this and this is how we operate, one of those guys will say, you know what, if we got one call, I can go, right? Like I can go. Like I want to go home, but if we really got to go, I'll go. And then I say, thanks, John. Thanks for taking care of the company. And I'll remember that, right? And so next time, maybe someone else will raise their hand. Because the truth is, the 5 guys want to go home. They don't have to. But the guys that have to can. If they got a soccer game to go to, a doctor appointment, or they're exhausted, or if they're in a fight with their wife and they're texting back, like, man, let's just let them go home. Like I want the best experience for my tech and my customer. I want the best experience for both my customers. So, and this is tricky, but this is where I learned this. I learned this on Christmas Eve. My friend Matt Laverne invited me to his company. I was over there already for Christmas. He invited me. Kenny Chapman did a in-person training there. And this is when I learned this. You cannot force a call on a tech in the afternoon without getting poop on your hand. He said it a little bit more graphic than that. I could not get a picture of poop in someone's hand. That's the best I could do. So, because here's why, guys. They'll rush the call and not provide good service and create a callback. They will do things for free. Right, they'll say nothing was broke. They'll get there and just walk in and fix it really quick and say it was a lame call, nothing happened, and leave because they don't want to do paperwork. Or they will be so professional, guys, that they will do everything perfect, and they'll finish at 8 o'clock at night and give you a $3,000 invoice, and the girlfriend or wife will hate your guts because, again, her husband or boyfriend said he was going to be home at 5 o'clock, and then you forced him to go on another call. So you can't win. There's no winning. So I learned this, and it's like, I brought it back and I'm like, I think this is true. And we do this all the time, guys. We force our guys to go on calls all the time, but what is the ultimate result? And even if we had one guy that, man, I had one guy, he went on a call for us on Valentine's Day. He was supposed to go, but he chose company over wife. And there was some toxicity there, right? So guys will do it, we can force guys to do stuff because they like to work really, but it doesn't turn out long term. So
Did
when
you,
we knew this would go ahead, Mason.
sorry, did you set the expectation with your guys on what their normal working hours were, roughly going to be?
So they knew they had to bring in a certain amount to be at budget,
Okay.
right? Here's the thing, guys. Everyone's got mortgages to pay. Do any of our employees independently wealthy? No. They all have mortgages to pay. So they like they need to make money. And so they can't abuse this system for very long or it won't work, right? It won't work for our company if they're only bringing in 20,000 a month. That's not going to work, right? But they're not going to be able to pay their bills either on 20,000 a month. And so a guy can only pull a lazy card a couple times. They can't afford it. And so there was a clear expectation, this is where you need to be. And also there's a clear expectation, there's some pride in, hey, if you're at budget on target, you could, if you finished up a 3-day repipe and want to go home early, let's call it. And hey, if you're behind, we're all winners here. Like losers didn't last long. Everybody had a winning attitude. And so if you're pulling your weight, great. And if you're not, it's kind of expected to, like, you wouldn't just go, if you weren't pulling your weight, you probably wouldn't say, hey, I want to go home early. It'd be like, the guy wouldn't he could do it, but this would kind of expose that he's lazy. And I'd probably rather put someone else in my truck, right? So he could pull this card a little bit. If he abuses it, it's not going to work out. But for my good guys, absolutely. If they want to go home at 2 o'clock and they're on track, on budget and kicking butt, and they come in every day and do beautiful work. If a guy wants to go to a soccer game, we're going to get to that. I'll reschedule that call for sure.
I
So
think,
what, go ahead.
yeah, I would just add the way that it worked in practicality was we would evaluate technicians based on performance. Like it didn't become about how many calls. It was literally, are they at budget? Are they selling? Like if that happened in less days of the month than we had, like if they were on budget a week before the end, like there was a lot of leeway, and sometimes people would take advantage of it, but we really evaluated it from, this is a company problem. We didn't want to create a rule that made it an undesirable place to work for our very best techs who were absolutely there for us and were there for the customer and met budget every time and loved the autonomy. Like our top performers loved this ability to decide their schedule. It's like it felt like, that was a great place to work. And so we decided, well, this is a company problem. If we have someone that isn't going to fit into this, if they're constantly, they're not at budget, but they want to go home at 2, that's our problem to solve. But we didn't want to make a rule that we had to apply to everyone and make it a suck place for really top performers to work. So that's just really how we handled it. It became about performance instead of number of calls or work hours, etc.
Yeah. Kimberly, do you want to take a couple?
You're doing great, Dennis. Yeah, you're doing good.
Okay, so
you guys were members of the Blue Collar Success Group for quite a while, if I remember right.
Yes.
Did you guys utilize their like monthly scorecards, with kind of running on, basing your, doing the performance reviews and stuff with your technicians?
Probably not, because I don't know. I don't remember what you're talking about. I think we made our own, and then we used mostly Service Titan, and we had our own scorecard.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Would you guys use those scorecards for, I guess, analyzing how their performance was and reviewing that with them consistently so they knew exactly, how they were sitting or?
Yeah. We had, I mean, we were pretty, like, we were both incredibly accommodating and also ruthless, like, to be honest, right? Because we would ruthlessly evaluate which was the best tech for the best call. We had a rating system. They were level 1, 2, 3, which I think is something similar to what Blue Collar does. And we would ruthlessly assign calls based on that. So if you were not a player, like your opportunities were more limited, like in terms of what you could go on. And so we were both, right? Like and like Dennis said, this was ultimately incredibly selfish because we were trying to give the very best tech to the very best call, and serve our customer the very best that we could. And we wanted to have a relaxed work environment. Like it just was not a good fit for us to be like, no, it's 5 o'clock. It's not 5 o'clock yet, so you can't go home. Like we didn't want to have that rule applied to us either. But we did. We had Dennis, I can't remember. I don't think we had weekly one-to-ones because the team was too big. I think we had one-to-ones once a month, and then every week we reviewed numbers as a group. So they would see their scorecard and know where they were, and they all knew at all times where they were assigned in terms of that tech ranking. So that was very transparent.
Cool. I like that. That's great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we were very data driven. So my dashboards, my Service Titan dashboards were always up. I knew if a guy had a bad, I wanted to see if a guy had 3 calls gone bad. I wanted to be able to visit with him and find out what's going on. And so we're very data driven, but also very accommodating again, because just like I'm not going to be a jerk to my retail customer, I'm not going to be a jerk to my primary plumber company, right? There's a balance there. I'm going to be professional, but
Yeah, and you're reminding me of something. Like we also had a thing where if a guy if it was before, I don't remember, Dennis, was it noon or 2 o'clock, and they'd already been to 3 calls, like they were done. Like it just was like, this is not your day, and we're not going to give
That's
you more
okay.
calls. Like it's okay. Like today is not your day. Why make it worse? Why, and it was just like, yeah, we're done for the day. Take a minute.
Do you guys have any examples anymore of the dashboards you used to use in Service Titan to kind of keep a close eye on that stuff?
no,
Boy,
I don't.
no, I don't know if I do. Like we had created an Excel version that we updated. I can't remember how we did that. It was kind of that's why I was so excited about Dispatch Pro. I never got the chance to use it actually, but I mean, I don't know if you use that at all, but that to me,
No.
all of these AI for dispatch, this seems exactly like what we were doing, but it was spreadsheets and dashboards and things like that. So yeah.
Okay. Cool. All right.
Yeah. But and then so also we had all the training to make them a top one, right? Constant sales training, constant technical. There's technical training every single week, as well as sales training every week. And the goal was everybody would be a top 1 player, right? We're not trying to hold anybody back.
Mm-hmm.
So also the office, we kind of learned this the hard way, guys. We actually had a friend that called, and his dispatcher, they were a small company, and he had like three people in the office, and I think he had 1 or 2. He was down to like 1 or 2 techs, and his dispatcher got in a fight with his top tech, and he fired the tech. And so I'm like, well, who's gonna make the money to pay her paycheck? So Kimberly and I made an emergency drive. We actually picked up and went that day and sat down and met with the company and a whole bunch of stuff. We found out a whole bunch of crazy. It was crazy. But that's when we really kind of solidified, wait a second. It's really easy for the office to tell the techs what to do and boss them around. It's like, wait a second, that could go really wrong. So we kind of started realizing, wait a second, the office paycheck is paid by the tech, and this whole idea of the tech being our customer. And so we really turned our office into, hey, the job is to serve the tech. And I don't mean that in a subservient way, but the office is there to make the tech look good. If they can call the customer and let them know we're on our way or we're late, if the customer can call, if the office can call and alleviate pressure off the tech, we want that tech to be as clear and unencumbered as possible to sell well and to do well, right? So anything the office could do, we did it.
Yeah,
They did follow-ups. Go ahead.
Just something that I would say all the time to my office staff is we've got filing cabinets, we have the internet, we have keyboards, we have a computer, we have a desk. Like, it's so easy for us to be organized. Our techs have a phone and a tablet. So like, look at the thing that needs to be done and what makes sense, who does it, based on you have a desk and they have a phone and a tablet, right? So like, we just were really all about what does it make sense for the office to do, and how can we make the tech more successful in the field and take stuff off their plate so they can make more money out in the field, because ultimately that just helped all of us make more money.
Yeah. So if you're not careful, the office will push work on the field and become an antagonistic to the field and a toxic culture. You get that. I see that everywhere. It's constantly the field is bitching about the office and the office is bitching about the field. It's like, dude, we're on the same team, man. Let's work together and rock and roll. And it's a lot more fun too.
And I'd have to
So
say
the-
part of
yeah.
that is being very clear on who does what, like really clear the designation and that in terms of manuals, and being really clear down to exact tasks, because it's like, if you've already determined that this is how we're going to split it up and everyone does their job, that also becomes very easy to manage. But if you leave it up to chance, people are going to be thinking it's easier if someone else does it all the time.
Yeah. So one-on-ones, we had regular meetups with every tech to touch base on what is going good and bad and their progress on the goals. This should be done with the office as well. Kimberly did it with the office. I did it with the techs. When I hired someone, I had them write out goals, 3, 6, and 12-month personal and professional goals. And then I kept pulling that out, referring to that, and I was trying to help my techs meet their goals at my company. Just a quick, simple example was one day it was slow. One of my guys had moved here. He'd never seen the ocean before. So it was like 11:30 and there was nothing going on. And I said, today you're going to go see the ocean. And he's like, what are you talking about? I don't know if you know this or not, Kimberly, but I sent a guy in
Yeah.
our truck to Ocean Shores. I go down I-5, turn right on Highway 101 and go see the freaking ocean. And that was super cool. It was a slow day. I made his dream come true. I wouldn't have known that if we hadn't done that exercise. But that meant a lot to him. That I remembered, I knew what his goals were, and then I took advantage of that downtime and made a special moment for him on my dime, and he stayed around for a long time. So long-term relationships. If you think about this, we're going to spend more time with our techs and employees than with the customer. So we invest more into them and work to make them good. Those relationships, right? A customer comes and goes, right? Few hours and they're gone. Hopefully they come back, right? But maybe 17 months from now, they'll come back for a couple hours. But we have to work with our plumber 10, 12 hours a day often, right? For years, hopefully. So we have short-term and long-term customers. And so we're going to put our efforts, we decided to put our efforts into making sure our long-term relationships were solid. So this is just, think about the cost of both customers. How much does it cost to get a new customer? What is it, $300, right? There's different ways to calculate that. Take your average, your marketing and divide it by your new customers is an easy way to figure that out. But how much does it take to replace a plumber, guys? Like, it might take several months to find one. Then plus you've got the emotional turmoil and drama of replacing somebody or losing somebody. Like, drama robs all profit. Like, that's something that we learned right away, is drama is bad. Drama sucks the wind out of everything and everybody and takes your focus off the ball. So if you think about the cost here, like, what would you put your effort into? Like, for me, it's pretty easy to see, like, we really want to make sure the relationships with our plumbers is solid. And this isn't discounting the customer's relationship, but by having a good relationship with a plumber, the better chances of taking care of the customer. And what I would tell my dispatchers, sometimes this is the other thing, Mason, the dispatcher will say, but we've got these 5 customers that I said would be there today, right? Well, long term, the more plumbers we can attract and keep at our company, the more customers we can satisfy. So maybe today I might actually, our philosophy might upset 1 or 2 people today. But overall, I can give the kind of service we deliver to thousands of customers, right? And so I might lose one or two, right? I don't want to, but you're right. But again, Mason, I'll choose my plumber over a customer, right? I'll lose $300. I'll even take a negative review. Hey, they said they'd be here and they didn't show up. That will never happen. We would communicate, and early on, as soon as we know we can't make it, we're going to communicate and let them know, hey, I am so sorry. The reason I'm calling is to empower you to call someone else or reschedule, right? And most people would appreciate that. Say, appreciate, let me know, I'd like to stay with you guys, right? And then would reschedule. And then the one that would say, you know what, if you can't be here, this is going to really suck. And it's like, okay, you know what, I've got 5 people. I got 5 people to call back and say, hey, I tried. I got one call we got to get to, and this is where it's at, and this is what it is. And because I take care of my guys, one of the guys a couple guys will say, I'll take it. If no one else will, I'll take it. Right. So that's how we balance that out. But ultimately, I'd rather lose a customer than a plumber. And I understand if this makes the dispatcher job hard, because sometimes they've said to Agnes 3 times that we'd be there today, and now we're saying we're not coming. So that puts her in a little bit of a bind, right? But still, I take care of my plumber before my customer. So that's
It is a good reminder to keep the long-term stuff top of mind, because you spend so much time trying to capture every call that comes in, you do forget about what the end game is.
yeah. And the other thing, Mason, is we spend so much money to get the phone to ring, right?
Yeah.
That's where the pressure is. It's like, why would I dare let one call slip through my fingers? But think about the effort we get to get a good plumber.
Yeah,
It's
that's true.
it's 100 times more. It's easily 100 times more. So, yes, I choose my plumber over my customer. When there is a conflict, I'm going to take the side of my tech first. So this is where trust comes in. We let them know we have their back. So when there's a complaint, I got my plumber's back first. Now, this doesn't mean this is how it will end up, right? I might discover I've got a bad tech and he's not going to last. He'll be flushed out quickly. But that's where we start is if you work for me, I've got you. We're on the same team. And I believe my team over my customer. And almost always I was right. And like when you call, you think, oh, how did we screw up? And we got to the point, if we called, it was probably us that didn't screw up. There's probably a misunderstanding or something. But a lot of companies are always thinking the customer is always right. And no, we start with the plumber's always right. We're always right. I got my plumber's back. And if he burns me, that won't last long, right? But that's how the relationship starts. And so it's one for one, all for one and one for all. This is the motto we say and we put into action all the time. The company's there to serve the employees, and the employees are here to serve the company. And guess what? The customer's not even in there, right? Customer for employee, business for plumber, and plumber for business. And then the customer is the third part of that wheel there, relationship. So then competitive pay, we're glad to pay top dollar in benefits to attract and keep the best. To do that, we have to charge and earn top prices. And here's the trick, guys, when the tech feels that the company is built for them, they will sell the price needed to support that company, that culture. Does that make sense? Like you cannot operate this way unless you're profitable. So this does cost money to operate this way. But when you do, like how many of us try to get the plumber to charge a price they don't believe in, right? They don't really believe. And you can see that. Kimberly would tell me all the time, hey, John's got a problem with our price. How do you know? He's selling everything. He's giving discounts everywhere. She would say, hey, he's giving a discount on every single job. He's giving discounts as much as he can. It's like, oh, he doesn't believe in our price. So imagine when the employee has your back because they're like, hey, I like this environment and I want it to continue and I want it to be even better. So then they believe in the price you're charging because they want to propagate this culture. At budget, be satisfied. So here's the other thing we're talking about, Mason, about forcing calls. When the tech's at budget, he's done the job we set him out to do. He's pulled his weight. He's done his part to make the company profitable. We told him this is the goal. If your truck does this, if every truck does this, we're good. So we don't demand extra, but we're glad for it. And so we try not to be selfish and desperate. When we were paycheck to paycheck, this was really tough, right? Like we did force guys to go on calls because we needed the calls to make payroll. We were there, and we didn't like that. And so we figured out how to charge the right price and be profitable so we could start to operate this way. The thing is, guys, we need the tech to do similar work tomorrow. We need him to have a good month next month. And so we used to do this, guys. We used to just wring every cent out of every guy because we had to. I know a kid, he was at like $97,000, and like the company is like, "Why aren't you coming in tomorrow?" You know, like it's kind of like, what are you talking about? The guy did twice everybody else. Like, let the guy have a couple days off, right? But selfishly, we want more of that. Like, wow, think what we could do in 3 more days. And I'm there too. I had to learn this the hard way because remember I said we got the bonus. I let them know we got the bonus. Well, then I was always like, well, let's get the next bonus. And so this was hard for me to learn too, is, hey, it's okay if everybody gets to target. We're a profitable company and everything's good. So, and then this also means we want everybody to pull their weight. We can't have 2 winners and 2 losers, or we're just barely getting by. We have to have 3 winners and 1 guy that's trying to be a winner. And then we can work. So the gas flex story.
Hey, Dennis, let me interrupt you just for 1 second. We're getting near
Yeah.
the end, and we still
Yeah.
need to give Chance an opportunity to talk about quick dry. So probably
Perfect.
be aware of
Hey,
that.
no rush, Dennis. You're killing it though. I can do it in 60 seconds.
All right, I'll tighten this up.
No
The
problem.
gas flex story. Guys, there was a day when my guys were sending pictures around. They were trying to get their yellow gas flex line just perfectly straight, you know, and how they did it. And so we are a straight commission shop, and the whole focus was to have the perfect gas flex 90. Anyway, that's the culture that you can have where the focus is on quality. And even though we're all making really good money and we're commission based, our pride was in quality, 100%. So quality, and we're not trying to be cheap. So that was the other thing we learned about the customer is, hey, to build this kind of thing, this is not cheap. And we're not trying to be cheap. We're trying to be clean, on time, and professional. So super important. I think we're getting really close. So then turnover, yeah, the turnover goes way down. When you create a culture that the plumbers love to work, turnover goes way down. A lot of times we're hiring a plumber to replace a plumber. There's no growth there. But what if you don't lose any plumbers? Then when the plumbers move to town, they find out you're the place to work and they come work for you. Or when you lose a plumber, you've got apprentices in line, so they just step in. They just step in. They just step up and into a truck. So that happened too. So when we added a plumber, it was usually growth. It wasn't replacement. So that is the result of this. And so this all sounds great, but like this is what happens. This is only the result of being profitable. And so that's why it's so important to be profitable. But when you're profitable, then you can operate this way. And then when you operate this way, you attract the best. And when the best are all pulling on the same team and working really hard, the company just takes off. It took us 15 years to figure this out. I think it's 15 years to get this figured out. But then once we did, the company we used to say, welcome to the rocket ship, because that's what it felt like. It was just going. So that's really all I got. I really implore you guys to work hard to be profitable so you can create a culture where your primary customer is your plumber. That's it.
Do we have any
Good job.
questions before we
Yeah.
turn it over to Chance?
When I nailed it the first time. Come on, Mason. What do you got?
I appreciate hearing what you guys had to say. A lot of good reminders. you guys have always, well, I guess not anymore, but you guys ran a really great plumbing business. I would argue one of the best in this area. So he's always somebody, you know, a business that I, you know, look to aim towards for what I'm doing here.
Cool. I think you're well on your way, Mason.
Thank you. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you. That's
100%.
really nice. That's really nice for you
Yeah.
to say.
Yeah, thank you guys.
For sure. Spread
All
the
right,
word.
great.
We're doing this all the time and helping people out. So it's kind of fun.
Yeah, for sure. It was great to jump on. I think, you know, we had talked previously, it's easily out of sight, out of mind. So I made the reminder, I'm gonna do it again.
Yeah.
Can I just want to add one more thing, and I know we're really tight on time. Sorry, Chance. I just want to say, like, we chose all the things that we did because it was a values match for who we were and how we wanted to run our company and what felt good for us and how we could go home and sleep well at night. So, like, the other thing is so important for if it's you to what are your values? What do you want to deliver to the customer? And then commit to them 100%, because like we can only be who we are, right? So like ours might look different than yours, but whatever they are, like you're looking to attract a values match in your technician so that he can easily and effortlessly deliver that to your customer, and it tells the story in your marketing. And so anyway, that I just wanted to draw that parallel. That's it.
Awesome.
Thank you, you guys. That was fantastic. Great information. Hey, I want to take a minute and introduce Chance from Quick Try here. He's here. He's one of our platinum partners for the association for 25. Huge supporter of our golf tournament, and but he's here to talk to us about Quick Try. So give it to us, Chance.
Yeah, thank you guys. I've enjoyed, hearing Dennis and Kimberly both share your success stories. Obviously, I wasn't around in the Washington area for that business venture or endeavor, but I definitely know that I've heard the success stories and the remnants of your success throughout the other plumbing vendors that we've met with and talked with. So congratulations to you guys. And yeah, thank you for sharing. As far as Quick Dry, yeah, I do have just a quick little, I guess, introductory or slideshow thing that I can share my screen and go through. Like I said, it'll take about 60 seconds. I don't want to bore a ton of you, but happy to do it. Yeah, happy to share. Let's see here. Share my screen. Here's our presentation. All right, we're all here.
Yep.
Quick Dry is a mitigation company. Obviously, we specialize in the dry out process for water damage. Everyone in this group is familiar with restoration services or mitigation work. It's not rocket science. It's not anything new. What we hang our hat on at Quick Dry is just a little bit more hands-on engagement as far as the referral or partnership program. We like to obviously communicate clearly, create tracking records and everything for transparency so that when a customer is handed off or given a referral for mitigation work, that at least that everybody involved knows what's going on and kind of where we're at. We started in Las Vegas, Nevada about 12 years ago. We've opened the Seattle market in March of 2023. So we're closing in on 3 years. And I don't know why my slideshow doesn't want to work. Oh, here we go. So anyway, now as we've been here for 3 years, we've been able to establish quite the reputation through great plumbing vendors that are part of this organization as well as others that are not. But yeah, we've been able to come and service over 5,000 different customers here in just the 3 years that we've been in Washington. We've been in the industry, like I said, for almost 12 years and have 5 different locations in the Pacific Northwest, Idaho, Washington, and Oregon. Again, what we hang our hat on at Quick Dry is just being available and having guys that can get to a call in a responsive manner. Within reason, we say we can get to almost any call in Western Washington within 1 to 2 hours. 60 to 90 minutes, our sweet spot. Again, obviously within reason, if we have something in Cameo Island, it might be a little bit longer, but we did Our shop is in Kent, and we have opened a northern shop up in Mukilteo last summer that's been able to help facilitate those response times and obviously service the customers up in the northern Seattle region. We have plans to open Tacoma or Olympia office in the first quarter of 2026. So just expanding our outreach in Western Washington, being able to, again, get to any call or customer within 1 to 2 hours is our goal. When we do have a partnered or a plumbing partner vendor, we say, hey, we want to be more than just someone that you call when there's water damage, but someone that you can rely on, that there's transparency, obviously an open line of communication. Maybe it's not get your guys out there as soon as possible, the house is flooding. Maybe it's just a quick question that the plumber has in order to know how to better do his job or to take care of the customer. So that's what we strive for. Obviously, our program consists of a referral bonus that we pay out for every sold job. We like to do different hands-on competitions and incentives throughout the quarters or year, I should say, just to incentivize engagement, keep the morale up, and obviously allow plumbers to feel a little bit extra reward from doing their daily work. That's all I have for you guys as far as, yeah, quick dry. Like I said, I didn't want to take a whole bunch of time, but just wanted to get in. Obviously, thank you guys for the great work that you're doing, and happy to be a member of PHCC.
Right on, Chance. Anybody have any questions for Chance? Well, Chance, I will say,
But I can vouch for Chance. He's been a big help with our with my business and what we've done with the restoration stuff, and always been there in the time of need.
Chance, could you
Awesome.
say again what your response time was? And was it a guaranteed one?
Yeah, 60 to 90 minutes is what we say. The guarantee is obviously the tricky part where, yeah, I think 5-10% of the time we're not able to get to a call within 1 to 2 hours. Ever since we've opened the Mukilteo shop last summer, that number is obviously diminished, or I'm pretty sure we've made it to every call within 1 to 2 hours. So, yeah, 60 to 90 minutes is what we prefer. And other locations, we're able to do it a little bit quicker within 60 minutes because of the demographic or geographic of Western Washington. It makes it a little tricky with travel times,
Yeah.
traffic.
Okay. And is that after hours as well, or during certain hours, all 24 hours a day?
24/7. Yep.
Wow, that's really nice. That's a huge headache when you need someone and they're not available. Yeah.
Couple days out or don't answer the phone. Absolutely.
Yeah. Pretty good.
Yeah.
That's great.
yeah. Well, Chance, we also want to take the last couple seconds here to thank you for your partnership with the PHCC of Washington. We're proud to have you here, and thank you for your contribution.
Thank you guys.
Right on.
Enjoy.
All right, everybody. That concludes our meeting. Have a great day. Be profitable.
Yes.
Thank you guys.